You almost have to feel bad for these people, man. They are using literally all of their mental energy to cope with what they've done, basically. The modern day American liberal really did think that they could manipulate the legal system basically the same way they've manipulated people's brains. And now it's all completely and totally backfired. I mean, they are going to be the reason that Donald Trump is elected in November. There's a lot of unfairness in this case, and right at the top of the list is the silencing of Donald Trump. They gagged him, but that has not stopped things that need to be said from actually being said.
Now let's look at who's involved in doing this. The lead prosecutor was the number 3 person that the Biden Justice Department. The judge's daughter is a political operative and raises money for Democrats. You've got the lead prosecutor's wife is a significant donor to Democrats, and I think to Biden. So this is just a bunch of Democrats saying, we want to make sure that Donald Trump can't talk. You know, they've got a gag order, so he can't go campaign. They've got him holed up in a courtroom. So Joe Biden go campaign, but Donald Trump can't. This has to stop. Look, we know that President Biden can't win this election fair and square. He has nothing to run on. And we know President Trump has a record. He secured the border. He had a great economy. We weren't at war. So that's why this is happening. Joe Biden knows and Democrats know that he cannot win.
He's absolutely right, man. I mean, this has got to stop. The damage that these people are doing to our country and the world, it's almost unbelievable. I mean, they are doing amazing damage. They are literally burning down everything and anything that they can just to stop one man. And the crazy thing, they're trying to stop a guy that did a pretty damn good job. I mean, as president, he really did a pretty damn good job. And it's amazing when you think about it. And now they've pushed so far that an entire panel of Democrat hacks are somehow sounding the alarm together.
Here with me today, podcaster and author Kara Swisher. Reihan Salam, president of the Manhattan Institute and National Review contributing editor. New York Times journalist and host of the podcast The Interview, Lulu Garcia Navarro. And Jonah Goldberg, columnist for the LA Times and editor-in-chief of the Dispatch. Welcome back, everyone. Reihan, was Stormy Daniels' testimony crucial, or was it just cringy?
It was certainly cringy. It also was not germane. It's not exactly clear what Donald Trump is being prosecuted for. Here you have me and my fellow New Yorkers spending millions of dollars on a trial that seems absolutely meaningless other than as an attempt to embarrass the former president.
Kara?
Go ahead. It's crucial and cringy. It can be at the same time. This is a fraud trial. That's all it is. And so they have to bring, if it's about hush money to a porn star, they got to bring in the porn star. There's just no way to keep her out of it.
Was it so prejudicial, though, the details about the encounter, that they should have declared a mistrial?
Well, as was pointed out to the defense, they could have objected several times, and they didn't, which was a surprise to a lot of people. And they could have kept a lot of that out. You know, she's a porn star. I don't know, what else would she talk about? It's a sexual encounter that was paid for to keep quiet. They've got to talk about the details.
And part of the problem here is that this is actually the defense's fault, because what they are saying is that this never, ever happened. And so if you're saying it never, ever happened, then you want to bring someone in that says, no, actually it did. And then, of course, you want to understand if this person is credible. So she went into, you know, minute detail, excruciating detail.
Reihan, you persuaded by...
No, I mean, the reason they weren't objecting in the moment is because it was totally inappropriate to have this person take the stand with regard to the fundamental question of whether or not this was some kind of felony. I think that this is just crazy to have a judge who should have recused himself in the first place. This is someone who is a campaign contributor to the incumbent president. His daughter is someone who's literally worked for President Biden. His daughter works for President Biden, for Kamala Harris, and for various other Democratic operatives. She's a Democratic operative.
The fact is, she provides the motive. The whole case is based on whether or not he falsified records to pay her off. She's got to be there to show it was a bad story and there was a reason to pay her off.
She has also explicitly said that she wants to embarrass and shame this guy, right? So I think that that certainly speaks to
You don't think any
prejudice.
witnesses ever have an axe to grind?
Well, in this case, she's explicitly said things that are prejudicial.
Do you think it didn't happen? I mean, that's what this is about. Do you think it didn't happen?
I think it's irrelevant. I think that there was a
how can it be irrelevant?
It all basically devolves from here, but just watch this poor guy's face, man. This is what happens when you have a liberal that actually knows what they're talking about. As rare as that is, but this is what happens when you have a liberal that knows what they're talking about, battling it out with just the prototypical liberal who really doesn't have a clue about anything, but they just feel a certain way. They feel something, so it must be, right? All the guy is trying to say is that the testimony was prejudicial. And the feelers in the group, they say, well, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And the poor guy, he's pretty confused. I mean, he realizes that they probably don't exactly grasp what the word prejudicial actually means.
Saying it didn't happen. She has to be there. There's no other way.
All right, enough about that witness, and I want to bring Joan in. Yeah. The key government witness, Michael Cohen, is expected to testify Monday. He's the person who the prosecution says can directly link the hush money payments to falsified business records. Jonah, is Cohen too compromised? Has he told too many lies to be a credible witness to a jury?
I think he's not at all credible by himself. I think the prosecution has probably done a lot of homework and they've laid a lot of groundwork to link his assertions and accusations to provable facts. And so that's the only way you can have Cohen do it, because But
you think they've laid the groundwork?
I think they think they have. I mean, I'm much more with Ryan on this. I largely think the trial's a farce. But they need to have Cohen in there, and they need to have and they need to button up anything that he says and connect it to other facts. And that's one of the reasons why I think the thing is a farce. I don't know any reasonable person who says, regardless of whether these 34 misdemeanors equal a felony and all the bootstrapping that they're doing as a legal case, he's obviously guilty of the actual acts, right? I mean, he did have sex with this porn star. He did do this double booking entry thing. Cohen's telling the truth about all of that. It's the legal question whether it adds up to the kind of felony crime that they're accusing of. I think all they want to do is get the conviction, and they don't care that it'll get overturned on appeal.
Of course that's what they want, man. That's all they want. I've been reading every single bit of the testimony in this case, and I cannot imagine a conviction. Obviously, I have my own bias, right? I get that, but there really is nothing here. I cannot imagine there's a conviction. But what he says is exactly right, man. It's the courtroom's version of a slanderous media lie, or the covering up of the Biden laptop. By the time they issue a retraction, by the time they issue a correction, the damage is done. I mean, this is the same thing here. This is exactly what they do. And all they want is a conviction. And they'll do, apparently, about anything to get it. And what happens after that, they don't really care. They don't care what happens to the system. They don't care what happens to the country. They don't care what happens to anyone involved in the case. They don't care about anything but a win.
Meanwhile, the judge refused to lift the gag order, even when Trump's lawyer said, well, she's already been on the stand. Stormy Daniels said terrible things about him. Let him respond to it now. And I guess the question is, Lulu, is it unfair to keep the gag order in effect, particularly in the middle of a presidential campaign, particularly about a witness who's already testified?
But what the judge said is that because Donald Trump has proven himself to be so over the top when he goes after people, so prejudicial, that it is actually important to keep the gag order on. This is based on Donald Trump's own actions and what he has previously said. This isn't something that the judge is simply doing to be punitive to Donald Trump.
I think they should put the gag order on all of them. I have to say, I think they should put it on Cohen.
Yeah,
he's been all over the place.
I actually
Stormy Daniels.
agree with that, too.
I agree with that.
I agree
That
with
seems
that.
fair.
And in fact, the judge did say
everywhere.
on Friday, he did say
He did.
to the prosecutor, tell Cohen to shut up. And he said, I don't have any control over Cohen. Anyway.
At least they agree on that. But I mean, of course they actually agree on that. What kind of crazy person believes that a criminal defendant should be gagged while the state's star witness against them is holding court on the internet talking about how they're going to finally destroy the guy? Anyone who thinks that is okay really is the epitome of Trump deranged. I mean, they are so Trump deranged that there's no coming back from that. Donald Trump has broken their brains, and he has broken a lot of brains beyond repair. Well, not even Trump, really. Propaganda has poisoned people's brains. And it is insane to watch. But that's just my take, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, be a part of our growth. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.